Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Emery here with Games and More, and I figured we'd do a series of videos just kind of talking about my history with video games and kind of growing up in the 80s, how I first got my Nintendo and everything. And I figure we'll do this first video on that, how I got my first NES. So in case you don't know, I am kind of getting old. I'm actually 37 years old, so I was born in 1978. And some of you guys may know, especially you older ones, that the video game market really crashed in the I think it was the early 80s. Atari had just kind of dumped so many video games on the market that weren't good, and people just got fed up with it. And I mean, you could buy cheap Ataris with a bunch of games at yard sales. I mean, people were giving those things away. And I had an Atari first. That was the first video game I had. It was probably the early 80s, maybe like, it might even been after the Nintendo came out, because after the Nintendo came out, I think in 85, people were just throwing Ataris away because they were, after the crash, and then now there was something better that came out on the market, they were fed up with it. So I had an Atari. I had a little black and white TV in my bedroom. I used to play, Pong and some other, tank, combat games, and it really wasn't good. I wasn't impressed. And my cousin, who lives up here in Missouri, I would come up here in the summertime. He had a Nintendo, and he had a Game Boy, and I mean, I was just in love with that thing. But my family didn't have a lot of money, so I wasn't getting one. So I mean, this is a couple years into Nintendo being out, and it's funny because my mom was an RN and a registered nurse, and she still is. And she actually worked at a clinic where she'd have to stay there all weekend. It was like, it wasn't like patients came in and out, but like if somebody needed life flighted or an ambulance came in and they were going to life flight them or whatnot, it was kind of like an emergency, standby place. So it was one doctor and one nurse, and they'd have to stay there all weekend. And my mom wouldn't have a babysitter, so I would go and just stay there and just like play on the helipad, and just kill the weekend basically. So anyways, there was this doctor there. I don't know if he had the hots for my mom or what, but he would just buy me whatever I wanted. And this was, I hadn't gotten into Nintendo really, I guess, at this point, because I remember I had him buy me like a bunch of G.I. Joes. I had him buy me, remember those dinosaurs with like the little guys that would ride on them? It was like Dino Riders maybe or something. I wish I had pictures of it, because I'll put pictures of those toys on the screen. I had a whole room full of those Dino Riders. I mean, whatever I wanted, this guy would just buy for me. And like I said, I don't know. I mean, every time I'd go there, he'd have like this giant box, and it would be like the biggest G.I. Joe vehicle you could get, and inside that box would be like 20 G.I. Joe guys. I mean, it was just, for a kid, it was mind-boggling. But anyways, one day I was like, I want to get a Nintendo. And I think this was like one of the rare times my mom let me go with him. Like, my mom probably thought he was a weirdo, didn't want her kid to go with this guy, and maybe rightly so, but he didn't ever try nothing with me. But anyways, yeah, don't go off with guys who just want to buy you stuff. Yeah, that's not good. But anyways, so I went with him to Walmart. And I was like, I want a Nintendo. I want, all this. So I got a Nintendo with the power pad, which was, you could run on it. I got that whole bundle. So I'm not sure, what year that was. I don't know if it was like 87. I'm not real sure. I know the first Nintendo came with Rob, the robot. And I'm not sure when they started doing the power pad with them, if that was at the beginning or not. But anyways, by this time there was a lot of games out. So I got like all the games you could want, like the extra controllers. I had like the Max controller, kind of went down, had like the roller for the thumb. I mean, it was just turbo, everything. So I had it all. And it really, at that point, it was basically throw the Atari away. And I just started playing games like hardcore all the time. And shortly after that, I think my mom quit that job. I think maybe I was trying to get her to like stay there like a little bit longer just so I could get that Nintendo. I think I kind of remember something like that. I mean, I would have been, if I was born in 78 and this happened in 87, I was only like 9 years old. But I do remember trying to get her to stay there because, you know, I had this guy just buying me. If I pointed at it, he'd buy it. It was crazy. So that's really how I got my first Nintendo. It's kind of a weird story. That's why I wanted to tell you guys that. You know, I don't know what happened to that doctor. I don't know if he was just a weirdo or, you know, he's probably just a single guy who, I don't know if he played Nintendo. There was another doctor there. This guy didn't like shower me with toys and stuff, but he was, I just remember he drove a Corvette, and he was like tall, thin with a mustache. And he took me to a baseball game one time. I don't know if all these guys like my mom or what. But anyways, I did stay the night at his house one time for some reason. And my mom wasn't there. I don't know what was going on. But anyways, he had a Nintendo. I stayed up like all night playing that Nintendo. Now, I don't know if this other guy who bought me all this stuff had a Nintendo or what. But, you know, if he was a single doctor, no family, he probably just had money to burn, you know. So, and buying me a Nintendo probably wasn't really cutting into his budget. So I appreciated it, and that kind of catapulted me into really gaming, and then on and so forth. So you guys let me know if you appreciate me kind of telling my history of gaming. I'll probably go over the ColecoVision in part 2 of this video because that one is really one that played a vital role in my gaming too. But you guys let me know what you think. Hit the thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.